Good evening, my friends. I'm here. Most people have asked to have a question and answer session. Uh, Many people would want to ask me questions, and some of them have not been having maybe an exchange to answer some questions or put things that they would really want to know, especially about the things that I've been posting of late. But I would like to wish most of my friends a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Of course, the Christmas season is here on us, but the football season is getting better and better from wherever you're watching. So today I'm not going to talk about anything apart from the questions that people have asked me and would want me to answer candidly. Of course, you ask your question, I'll probably answer the questions that most of you have posed, either in my inbox or right now, like some people are watching. You pose the question, I'll answer it, especially about football. Don't ask me about anything else that I probably have no clue about, because some people have questions that you probably might not be able to answer. But somebody is asking me about Liverpool Football Club. Okay, we are eating our words, especially about Liverpool. I'm one of the people eating my words, especially if my team looks to be relegation bound. Arsenal is, we are having the most atrocious season. I don't think we have had a season of this nature. We are closer to relegation than even the top four. I don't know what's going on. But as for Liverpool, I think the 30-year wait could be ending by January. Of course, I have to eat humble pie. My friends, Mbalinda Tom, he must be very happy. Audrey Nsubuga must be over the moon. But for us, the Gunners, this is the worst possible moment that anybody could be. Somebody asked me about KCC Football Club, my support for the club, and it's unprofessional. Well, it depends, because most people think that if you're a coach, you probably have no emotions and you have no attachment, which is not true. Most of us get involved in football due to some reason, and usually it's about a football club. You don't just get into football because of late some people, you hear people say, I support the Cranes, which I find very atrocious. Like I said, Cranes plays 4 times a year. How do you support such a team that plays 4 times a year? We support the football clubs first. Then after that, we support the national team. So it's not unprofessional in any way to support KCC, because KCC is the one that introduced me to football. KCC Football Club introduced me to football, and it is the reason that I'm in football today. Probably if I had not seen KCC play, or if my father didn't support KCC, if I didn't attend KCC football matches, I probably have not been in football. So calling it unprofessional for my support for the club and openly supporting it is like, yes, I support the club, but once I'm doing a job like I've done before, I don't think that my support for the club overwhelms my job. My job would really come first. Yeah, I think so. My job would come first, and I've raised that. I think I've told some people in some quarters that in 2017-18 season, KCC, one of KCC's reasons for not taking the title was the results against my team, home and away. After failure to beat us home and away, I think that's one of the reasons they didn't take the cup. So if I really supported KCC that blindly, I would have let them probably win the games, which I didn't. So I support the club. I support the club so dearly but that would not hinder my professional approach to things. And sometimes people would say, okay, about the comments about other teams and what. Of course, like somebody was telling me about Sports Club Villa, what I say about Sports Club Villa. Yes, you cannot be a KCC fan and really like Villa. Really? No. It's impossible. That one is impossible. For all the things that Villa has done to us over the years. One of the worst moments, I think, for me as a football fan was, I think, around 1980, I think 90, either 90 or 91. 91, Villa hammered KCC 5-0, and I had escaped from school to watch a game in Masaka. I think that was the worst moment, and I've never forgiven Villa for the things. Of course, there are other things that Villa has done, like taking the best player, my best player. I would think the best player that I believe the best player I've seen playing football in Uganda was Godfrey Katerega to me, because people will say of Omondi, all kinds of things, but I believe to me Godfrey Katerega was the best player I'd seen play football, and Villa went and took him to Villa Park. And all those things, I don't forgive that team easily. But hating Villa or other things, no. This is about football. It's not about, and it's a fans banter. So when we are bantering things that involve fans, most people don't seem to take it in, and they don't want to believe it. So as for the professionalism, I support KCC. Everybody supports. Actually, there's no coach in Uganda who does not support a football club. That's a lie. It's a lie. But we coach these teams. For example, I coached Maroons for 12 years. And when I tell people that actually I didn't support I'm not a fan of that club, people don't believe. But guess what? My children support that team. Why? Because they grew up seeing Maroons Football Club. Now that's the difference. I don't support Maroons, but my daughters actually support the club that badly because it is the club that they saw. Now that's different. You see, I supported KCC because my father introduced me to it. Now my daughters support Maroons because I coached Maroons for a period of time, and they have all the jerseys. Even I think for every year they actually have those jerseys of that football club. So that is what it means to support a football club. You support a football club usually because it's what you see first. So I don't support Maroons Football Club, but I coached them. I probably even sympathize with them when I see results not going their way. I feel a bit, but vividly, I support KCC. Period. And that is it. So about professionalism of the club, I don't know. It's up to you now. It will be up to you to decide whether it's professional for me to support KCC or otherwise. So that was just a question. Somebody else was just asking me also about, the posts I've been putting about corruption and what in football. And there are some people who are asking me that, aren't you corrupt yourself? Well, everybody probably might have an element of corruption in them. Everybody, because of human nature. But corruption in leadership is different. If I put myself up for leadership, then you can put me on the pedestal and weigh me on that and say, okay, that man is corrupt, he shouldn't be doing this. But if I'm in my zone and small petty, everybody has done things. But when you are a leader, you must be exemplary. Because all this stems from the fact that I have been, last week I've been talking about I would say the former or outgoing or incoming, whatever it is, the former president, whatever you would want to call it. And people try to bring things that don't even match. Because the question in hand is, what is corruption? Did the act that the president do, was it a corruption act? Was it corrupt? Are we the ones who found him corrupt? Me, the person saying, am I the one who found him corrupt? No. I thought it's the institution of FIFA that did it. And if they bring it to the forefront, why don't we talk about it? Then secondly, and people asking me, especially what's his name? Cephas. Cephas was asking me a question and saying that what kind of examples do I have to give? Now, let me give you just one example of, okay, Sonua Peter, Sonua Peter say, how are you? Okay, I'm fine. How are you? How are you doing? The corruption issues, I'll give you one. And please, let's be vivid now. Let us remove what you feel about me, what you feel about everybody, but let me give you one particular example. And let's talk about it. Don't talk about the individuals. Don't talk about what I'm going to tell you right now about what corruption is. And Cephas Ndoreye, I think, asked me that question to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of the UPL. The UPL, okay, Derek Ntege, I said FUFA has failed on all elements of good governance. Of course, has FUFA failed on all elements of good governance? Yes. Before I let me deal with Derek's question first. Good governance. What is good governance? Good governance means that you must follow the laws and regulations. That's first of all good governance. You must follow the laws and regulation. Because without laws and regulations, there's no good governance. Good governance is bound by the laws and regulations. So, first of all, we go back. Is FUFA lawfully registered? Now, if you answer that question, is FUFA lawfully registered? I said, remove all the gymnastics that get involved here. FUFA is not lawfully registered. And this is a known fact. They have been fighting to get this thing registered, but they have failed to get it right. Why? Because they have failed to do the basic things of, first of all, FUFA to register had to dissolve first to become something else, which they were not ready to do. So FUFA right now is not registered lawfully. So good governance comes from following the laws and regulations. So if you don't have laws and regulations that bind you, then there's no good governance. So forget about good governance. That question that was asked, that's the principle of good governance. Good governance means that you follow the rules and regulations first before you do anything. Because people will say about football, Cranes has done well. That's not good governance. Cranes, the team, is playing well. Congratulations. We congratulate everybody who is involved with the Cranes. So that's good governance. Is that good governance? Can you call that good governance? No, the team has played well, but is that good governance? Good governance is by law. If you're not following the laws and regulations, then you're not talking about good governance. Okay, then I go back to the other question by Cephas, the question Cephas, and I said, take out all kinds of things you're going to think about, the person saying it, the people saying it about, but you go to the UPL and the sponsorships of the TV sponsorship. There was a company called Sports Direct. And I want, if the people taking notes, take notes about this. Sports Direct is supposedly a company that was going to telecast the UPL games. Sports Direct. Sports Television, not Sports Direct. Sports TV, something like that. That was brought about. Now, first of all, if you talk about corruption, how did this company win how did they get approved to telecast? How did they get the rights of the UPL? Like I said, take note of this. Ask all the presidents of the 16 clubs then. Did anybody assent to this? What were the background checks of this company that was created just 4 months to telecast? And they came up and said they're going to telecast all games on TV. And yet they didn't even have a camera. They didn't have an Obi-Wan. They didn't have a camera. Their office was in another office of somebody else who was the director. And then, to make it worse, one of the directors, Dennis Mbide, was formerly a FUFA vice president. Now, if that is not corruption, what is it? What is it? Using office badly? What is that? Now, leave alone that. Maybe they qualify. Maybe they qualify because they say they're going to sponsor 4 million. Now, for a company that has $4 million to inject in the game of Uganda, and They have never done any business of that nature anywhere else. Where did they get this mandate to get? Who sat and signed them? That's the question you should be asking. Because people have been asking me to point them towards the corruption that we are talking about. So I am pointing you to that point. Now, after they sit and they say that this sports television company is going to broadcast these games, meaning that sports television should have bought the rights of the games, or Premier League games, meaning that there should have been money that has been deposited on the Uganda UPL accounts, because Sports Direct has bought the rights. So how much did they use to buy these rights? Because that means money should have gone into the pockets of football clubs. So this TV actually takes they call a press conference, the UPL is there, everybody is there, they call the CEOs abruptly. CEOs are not even sure of what was going to happen. They just announced to them that this TV has taken over from Azam TV. Now, like I said, they didn't have a camera, they didn't have an office, like everything about them was very shambolic, but they give them the what anyway. What is that? Let's go on and examine this a bit more. After giving it to them, then they dispose of their rights to a new one, Star Times. So Sports TV disposes of their rights to Star Times. Now, Sports TV bought these rights from who? Now imagine they disposed them of. So that means Star Times paid some amount of money to get the rights from this Sports TV thing. So Sports TV did not acquire this by paying. How did they get it? Who gave it to them? What was the interest in this? Like I said, please examine the things that I'm telling you. Do not say that, so-and-so hates this person, so-and-so. What I'm telling you is that Sports TV got these rights from UPL. Did they pay UPL for them? First, then in the process of getting them, did they qualify as a TV? Because if you're getting rid of Azam that had all the equipment, then you're bringing somebody who doesn't even have a TV cam. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have an Obi-Wan. He doesn't have an office. He doesn't have anything. He hasn't done any work towards that. But you gave him. That is okay. That is not corruption, according to people. That is okay. Then you give them to somebody who has not done any business. That's okay. Then the same person gets the same rights and disposes of to another one, and gets money for no value. Like, he didn't pay for it. He got them. He sold them to another person. Now, what are we doing here? Let us be serious about these things. It's not about these Asaphs and group. They really hate this man. They really hate this man. This man is the Federation President who is sitting and doing, allowing all the things to go on, whether he's involved personally or he's not involved, but that is what happened. Sports gets them for free, sells them to Star Times, and money has been exchanged. So who is in this? Who is doing this? Like I said, I'm going to give you only one example, because Ndorere's it's called Tenderes the Cephas. He asked me this question, and I'm answering you. Take note of it. How did Sports Broadcasting TV get the rights from UPL? How much did they pay UPL? Who evaluated Sports Broadcasting Company to come anywhere closer to even acquiring these rights? When they disposed them to Star Times, where was this? The money that was exchanged in between Star Times and Sports, who took it? Whose was it? Because Sports Broadcasting did not get these rights by paying. They did not pay for them. How did they get them? So there you are. Those ones who, whatever you want to call, because I am very sure the likes of Ntege, who is because you look at a person, just to divert away, the Ntegas will start abusing you, stupid, empty head, what. But instead of saying, deal with the situation, and by the way, Ntega is the manager for the cranes. And if you see the things that he says and writes for a manager of the cranes, then you know where we are going. So, not to divert away, but those are the people who will come and start saying these things, or you're saying these things, you're saying the other things, you're saying this. But that is corruption, all in all. So I've given you one. I'm not going to go in 100 million things that have happened. I've given you one. Let's concentrate on this one. Ask the right questions. How did sports broadcasting get the rights from UPL? How much did they pay for them? Did they pay anything? No. Did they have cameras? No. Did they have offices in somebody's office? Yes, they had a small desk in somebody's office. Up to today, we have never seen what they have done on television. But yet they disposed of their rights to StarTimes. Where was the money? StarTimes paid something because they also didn't get them for free. Because there was somebody who had them who was sports broadcasting. So how much did sports broadcasting get from StarTimes? You see? So let's deal with just that element. Don't go anywhere else. If that is corruption, if it is not corruption, I rest my case. Because there are so many other things that we could buy, but I decided to pick on only one that we talk about. So if that's not corruption, if that does not call for somebody to be checked ethically, then I really don't know what else I can say. If the ticket business was not big enough internationally, if an international body tells you to step down, and I see most people with dignity, people who are supposed to be leaders, and they are saying, oh, on Tuesday the 10th is a welcoming committee. Welcoming from where? Now we are welcoming this person from where? We are welcoming him. Yes, the hero Magogo is coming back as a king, as a lion, because those are the superlatives everybody has been putting out. The king, the lion, the everything, the god of football. What? On 10th, he's coming back. But let's ask ourselves, where is he coming back from? Who sent him there? What did he do to go there? So we are trying to tell a generation of people that actually it is okay to do wrong things for as long as you can justify. And I told somebody, I gave somebody an analogy, still in this chat of Facebook. It's just like a thief goes to a home, kills a father, rapes a mother, and pays school fees for the children. So that is it. The school fees is paid, probably the children study, but guess what? Does that take away the original sins of whatever was happening? You pay school fees, you kill the father, rape the mother, but pay school fees for the children. Then that means it erases everything else that you would have done. No, it doesn't. So it doesn't. The original sin will always remain there. It doesn't make you a hero. Even if the things that you've done were good, that maybe you looked after the children. But why did you kill the father? Why did you rape the mother? So that is exactly the analogy. So on Tuesday, people are set to welcome back this hero who has desecrated this game, in trying to say that, look here, he has desecrated it, but he has taken cranes to the Africa Cup of Nations. And that is the pointers. That is where we are pointing ourselves as a nation. Now, the other person asked me about the industry of football. And this is this question that I have been trying to answer, but most people do not get it. But let me maybe break it down. One time I asked the question to somebody, and I asked him a question, and I asked my friend, actually, Vianney Nsimbi. I asked him a question. I was like, if you had 1 billion Ugandan shillings, would you invest it in a football club in Uganda? Because we love football very passionately. But in the current situation, could you? And all the journalists who are around me could not give me an answer. Then I told them, let me give you the answer. Why? Because if you have an industry that is not regulated by law, it's just regulated by whims and feelings of people. Because by law would mean that everything works in a certain allowed manner. It allows coaches, players, referees, agents, and everybody to partake, and club owners most especially, to partake in the resources. Because other people will always say, oh, those people are looking for money in football. What is football for? Football was meant to enrich people. Let us not be fooled about. But do not enrich yourself in one way. As the leaders enrich themselves, then the players and protagonists in the thing are actually not getting anywhere into it. The reason that Uganda football cannot make money, actually, the same question Cephas asked me, that how come other clubs, especially he mentioned Maroons Football Club, that I should tell him how Maroons Football Club managed to get sponsorship, if I'm saying that. Now, let me tell you, KCCA, Maroons Football Club, probably URA, will get sponsorships. And it is not because of their abilities on the football field. Don't get confused. These are government institutions which have things to offer. KCC FC will get sponsorships not because of the football. No, because KCC is an institution that has powers to give whatever company that's involved with leeway to do whatever they want. Because Prime, for example, one of their sponsors, Prime, something like Prime Media. Prime Media will probably get spaces to advertise in town. If you sponsor these institutions, for example, you was asking about especially the sponsorship of Maroons Football Club and that oil company. Now, Maroons we know that Maroons, the owner, the parent company of Maroons is Uganda Prisons. Uganda Prisons has farms, vast farms that deal with sunflower and what. So why wouldn't a person dealing with sunflower oil sponsor them? Because it's a quid pro quo. Now, it has nothing to do with football. It has to do everything with the business and the institution. Now, that is the difference that people don't know. KCC gets these sponsorships because of what the power they have to give to the companies. Same thing with URA. I mean, if you sponsor URA, probably they will look at you in the tax, when they evaluate your taxes, and they say, okay, there'll be some leniency. So the reasons why these institutional clubs get sponsorship has nothing to do with the football. Now, let's look at the real football clubs. Why doesn't Villa get a sponsor? Because Villa has more fans than anybody. Simple. It's because there is nothing to show for. Because how many companies are willing to throw money into something that is not going to get them anything? Because Ugandan football, the good thing, Kavuma, Daniel, is also watching, maybe should tell us, Villa has the biggest number of fans. Agreed. Like I said in the beginning, I support KCC, so probably I don't like Villa. When Villa loses, actually, I'm more happier when Villa loses than... So, Daniel, don't take this the wrong way. Why isn't Villa getting the sponsorships that they need? The answer is simple. Is that anything that is not backed by law, by organization, you cannot get sponsorships. Now, how does... If I'm a sponsor and I'm not even sure when your league plays, I'm not sure when I will advertise. You get off a TV that is being watched Africa-wide. You go on one that is watching regional-wide. Then after that, you drop to one which is being watched in Kampala. Who is going to sponsor you? Realistically, who is going to sponsor you? That is the reasons why you will not get these sponsors, because we are so disorganized in approach. The way we approach our things. A sponsor will need something that is, you say A is A. For example, like I had said before, can you know when a Premier League game is going to be played in Uganda? No, you can't. Because today, even if you support the team, they'll be just saying, no, the game was extended to Friday. No, it was put on Saturday. It was brought back to Tuesday. That kind of uncertainty. In Uganda, that's where It's only in Uganda where you see the league fixtures come out a week to kick off. Now, for example, we don't know, I think right now we don't know the fixtures of the second round. And all these people think it's a small thing. This is a big thing in football. If football is an industry, then that's a big thing. Certainty is very important, is key in football. And that's where the sponsors drive. Because if I'm going to get my money's worth, sponsors don't just say, I'll give you money. No, they want their money's worth. If I give you money, then I must get my money's worth. Where is my visibility? How am I going to get visible? You jump off Supersport, which was Africa. Then you go to the East African one, Azam. You jump off East Africa. You get StarTimes being showed only in Uganda on a local TV, Sanyuka TV. Now, how does the sponsor deal with such a person who keeps on flip-flopping? The sponsor, you don't have TV coverage that is good enough. That is one. Two, you're uncertain on which days you play. Three, you don't do enough because, for example, UPL, you will never see an advert of the UPL. But UPL will say, we want... Okay, Kavuma. So, nkubanja 5 aside, jogereko ebisigade biviem. Okay, no, Kavuma, Daniel, actually, our thing is not about 5 aside. I said we go for penalties, 5 each. Nkuba tano, chechoka. Referee go salawo ani agenda ogufuwa. Naye nkuba tano. Ogenda mugoro ne nkuba nange no nkuba. Then ebisigadde tujja kubivaamu. Ebisigadde bijja kwesotinga. So, still on the sponsorships. So, if we do not get all these things right, football will not make sense. Football should make sense in the financials of football. That's why you have coaches these days just moving around, and everybody say, "Oh no, these coaches are unserious." But people are trying to look for survival, and that is all. Because why would the coach be in a side that is not paying him because he is trying to be professional? The coach is working because he has to take food home to his wife and children. So if you're not paying the coach, they keep flip-flopping from one side to another. Why? Even players. That's why you find today players are not willing to even sign contracts. I've been in a situation where a player doesn't want a contract and just wants to play because he knows that contracts tie them down for no pay at all. So why would somebody need a contract? Because nevertheless, these contracts are even never fulfilled at any particular moment. So today I wanted to just talk about those issues. Let's stick to the issues. If we talk about issues, because we are talking about for the development of the game. Of course, somebody else also asked me. Somebody, Tusubida, Tom, asked me a question and said, you also want to be for president? And I've told people that we can only have one for president at a time. In 8 years, in 20 years, it doesn't matter. What matters is, what does everybody benefit from the game? Everybody should be able to benefit from the game. I personally am a football coach. I would prefer to coach football, and I said before, maybe own my own football club or my football academy. That's what I would do, because maybe leadership is not my thing. But if I come out and point you to a direction, don't start saying, I want to be for president. No. I'm involved in football. Then there are those other people who think that football is for them. Others like, leave our game. You have that kind of comment. Leave our game. Move mopira. Bichi. But you ask them, why should we leave? It's so big. Football is so big to accommodate all of us, but the accommodation of everybody means that some people will be on the sidelines. Because the importance, most people want to become more important than the game being important. Let me see. Some questions now. So, those are the issues that I wanted to divulge in and see. And okay, other people were asking me the questions about it. When I make a recordings, I upload them on my YouTube channel, Asaph Mwebaze, on my YouTube channel. So those ones who don't see them, go back and take time and then you come back and discuss, because we are chatting football. We are not chatting anything else. We are chatting football. How do we make our game better? Whether politically, whether on the field of play, whether whatever, because everybody is interested in this game in a different angle. For fans who want to see their teams play well. But, okay, Amos Jovans Jogo said, "Hi coach, what is the most decorated football club in Uganda?" Of course, he wants to throw a jab at me. Well, the most decorated football club in Uganda is Sports Club Villa, without a doubt, without a speck of a doubt. It is the most decorated football club in Uganda, having won 16 league titles and Uganda Cups and so on, and played in the finals of the African Champions League. Villa should be the biggest club in Uganda. But like I said in one of my other previous recordings, I said they are not anymore because they failed to grasp onto it when they were. And I gave you the parameters. If you didn't build a stadium, you didn't build a training ground, you don't even have Amos Jovans, you don't even have an office where those medals can be seen. Because I would love to walk into a Villa office establishment and I look at all those trophies they have won, the 16 trophies, the medals, the pictures of Majidu Musisi, like all those things. But without anything like that, you can't be that big, unfortunately. History will say, yes, you're the most decorated club, but you can't be that big. And I've told my Villa friends, deep from my heart, that a big Villa, a more successful Villa, is good for all of us. There is no small club that wouldn't want to play you. Because if I have a small team and I'm organizing the small team, I would love to play Villa. Because I'm going to get the resources, I'm going to get whatever I want. But with Villa, at the current Villa, I don't think so. And Tega again is asking, talk about the laws. Are the laws in place, if any? Talk about the laws. Are the laws in place, if any, weak that those that break them walk away scot-free? Well, I don't think I understand the question, but I think the laws are actually in place. There are some laws which are in place, but like I said, I'll give you an example. How sometimes we say the laws are there. FUFA has laws and regulations, but of course sometimes the application is a bit selective, or sometimes they turn a blind eye on things that are done or what. So the laws are there, and those who break them sometimes go scot-free. Others are reprimanded. Others are heavily punished. I mean, sometimes you don't even understand. Okay, you talk about recently I talked about the Maroons and Vipers thing. Yes, if Maroons is actually fields a player that has 3 yellow cards, then yes, the laws should sanction them without a doubt. I would have no problem with it. But here is the problem. The problem is that the UPL that is supposed to tell these clubs by email, because every time, previously, the times when I was there, I used to actually practically force them to give me this information. I used to send them emails, hound them, please give me this information. And they would give it to me. And it's available. So I don't know why they don't make it that they send emails, all these clubs, that, oh, look here, the player X and X is not supposed to appear in the next game. But where I found a problem was that it's Vipers that knew. Now, my question was that, how did Vipers know? Because Vipers cannot be taking stats for every team in the UPL. Somebody is taking stats and that person is in UPL. So, my assertion was that somebody in UPL actually told the Vipers people. And that's where I find the problem. And then, the letter from the disciplinary committee calling on Maroons to come and present evidence. Now, was that a disciplinary committee case? Really? That was the case of saying we sanction you because you used the player. We don't even call for evidence. What evidence are you calling for? Because you must already have the evidence. By the time a player is played with a 3rd yellow card, what defense are you supposed to have? So that's where you find the what. Then, of course, you go back to the pro-line issue. The way FIFA handled the pro-line issue. I mean, you have an international game going on, the players have been called, and the team tells you, please reschedule my game, and you say, no, you play. I mean, where are the rules and regulations? Because if they say two players, you have two players there, and then they tell you international break teams are not supposed to be playing. Your league is playing international break. You have the teams, two players, probably the most key players. You want them to play. It's so that's why you ask Ntegi, how the rules are there, but are we applying them? Do we apply them fairly? Do we leave other people to go scot-free? It's the answer. It's me and you. Let's just look at those issues. Look at it and see where that goes. Because those two instances I've given you, the one of Maroons Football Club and then the one of Proline Football Club. Those are rules that should be simple to handle, but people complicate them. Like I had a problem with the disciplinary committee, of course, being chaired by somebody who I think the president of the is it beach soccer. No offense, but I think that committee should have a bit of people with legal minds. The chairman must be a person of a legal mind, somebody who is going to look at laws and regulations without feelings and favor. I think that the composition of that committee is also a bit wanting. So that's where we need to look at. If we are going to carry out the rules and regulations properly, then even the people we entrust to do that should be people of a certain kind of caliber to do it. I mean, not everybody can carry out justice properly. No, it's specifically some people have to do it. So I think that was it. That was those are the questions that actually I wanted to answer for those people who asked them, and I think I've done. So if there's anybody who wants to ask something else, especially about our game, because if we don't talk about our game, it's our game, like the FIFA says in their slogans. It's our game. So who is our? You must define who is our. Our is us. Somebody says we don't know English. Ham Packer. Okay, but you see now, Ham, we are on an international kind of platform, because Facebook is an international platform. Now, when you begin to speak a language, I'm not sure what kind of language you'd want me to speak, because Ham, which is the Ugandan language, because even us in Uganda, we have failed to come and say which is the international, with our national language. People say Swahili, but if you ask people in Uganda to speak Swahili, most people would go hungry. If we were being paid to speak Swahili in Uganda, we would go hungry. It's supposed to be the language that we speak. So if you don't know English, then what language do you want me to speak? Because now, I'm not, now the language that I speak, if I spoke my native language, again you'd say, oh, now this coach is only addressing these people. And if I spoke the language that probably you speak, then people would be saying, because recently there are some people who are saying that even the football commentary being done on Uganda Premier League is being done in a certain local language, and some people are not happy with it. So you can see where this is coming from. And so Hampaka still say, give your best in UPL. Give me your best UPL first round team. Ooh, you see, that one has to be done. I won't lie to you, because probably I'll fix in KCC, because probably that's the team I watch the most. It would be best done by somebody who, especially the journalists, like Clive, the people like Clive, people like this man from Radio 1, Kabozi, Isma Chionga. Those are people who watch all those games. So those would be the best people to give you that kind of analysis of such games, because some of us get biased and watch just a few, or watch one particular team. Probably I will not watch a team unless they're playing against KCC right now. But okay, previously when I was a coach, I used to go watch all other teams, because probably I wanted to see how they play. But at the moment, you probably be pushed to watching a team on one side. Then, of course, on a funnier kind of side, before I call it out tonight, is I'm sorry to Isma Chionga. Yesterday, you suffered that kind of indignity. Isma Chionga had to walk from Kampala Road to Kololo after losing. He actually said Manchester United could not win that game, so he started his way, but I didn't see the end of it. Chionga, please furnish us with the whole route, because the last time I saw you at Dowinton, I did not see you reach Kololo. I don't know if you actually made it to the what. So thank you very much for watching. Those ones who still have other questions on other topics, especially football, Uganda football, maybe Arsenal. Don't ask me about other thing. Of course, Liverpool sucks and all that kind of thing. So, like I said, have a Merry Christmas, because now we're in a Christmas period. Have a Merry Christmas and probably the coming New Year. And God bless.